We're here today because we have filed charges against the state of New York. We have filed charges against Kathy Hochul. We have filed charges against Letitia James and Mark Schroeder, who is with DMV. This is a new DOJ, and we are taking steps to protect Americans. As you know, we sued Illinois, and New York didn't listen. President Trump has directed this to stop. And if you don't comply with federal law, we will hold you accountable. We did it to Illinois. Strike one. Strike two is New York. And if you are a state not complying with federal law, you're next. Get ready.
I think it's become abundantly clear what the main agenda for the new Attorney General, Pam Bondi, will be in the Trump administration. They've already sued the city of Chicago and the state of Illinois last week. And as you just heard from Attorney General Bondi, they're now suing Kathy Hochul, the governor of New York, and the state attorney general, Letitia James, over the state's sanctuary laws. Now, New York City's sanctuary laws all but stop the city's police and jails from helping ICE deport undocumented immigrants, according to the New York Times. And communications between the city's Department of Corrections and ICE are very limited. And part of the reason why is in sanctuary cities, it's important to know that these laws really do vary depending on which city or which state we're talking about. So in the case of New York, if someone is arrested, for instance, they're not going to ask for the immigration status of the individual who's been arrested. And so that does have an impact on the ability for ICE to, target individuals who have committed serious crimes and deport them so they're no longer in the country, because it would require communication between local authorities and federal authorities who work with ICE. Now, the city can only honor ICE detainer requests for those convicted of violent or serious crimes, though requests also require a warrant from a federal judge. And ICE also cannot arrest people at state, city, and municipal courthouses in New York or enter a city building without a judicial warrant. So these are all seen as major obstacles to detaining and deporting, what the Trump administration considers, violent, dangerous, undocumented immigrants who should be sent away, deported. Now, ICE officers can still arrest non-citizens, but state laws have eroded the practice of transferring jailed immigrants to ICE custody, according to the New York Times. So that's the main reason why the Trump administration is pursuing this lawsuit, in addition to the fact that this essentially sends a message to other sanctuary cities and states. So they essentially end their practice of protecting undocumented immigrants and essentially go along with what ICE and the federal government is attempting to do here in mass deporting individuals or deporting individuals who have committed violent crimes. For example, in the 12 months from June 2022 to June 2023, the Correction Department got 201 detainer requests from ICE, but they only complied and transferred 10 people. Similarly, the police department received 109 detainer requests from ICE, but transferred zero, none of them were transferred to federal officials for deportation. So this has obviously greatly frustrated members of the Trump administration. Pam Bondi made clear that she was going to pursue these types of lawsuits, and that's exactly what she's doing here. And look, through the courts, we are going to learn what kind of power the states have and what kind of power the federal government has in superseding these state laws. But one other thing that I will say, the federal government has essentially fumbled on this issue of reforming our immigration laws, and that needs to change. We can't have different policies depending on who's in charge in the executive branch. There's no, there's no uniformity. You have the Biden administration, which did drop the ball on immigration. You got to keep it real. When you have 1 month, the month of December 2023, where 300,000 people come into the country That's insane. And obviously, that is going to overwhelm our immigration system. It's going to overwhelm the courts when it comes to judges listening to and deciding on asylum cases. It's not fair to legitimate asylum seekers. I mean, that is definitely a broken system. But then you enter the Trump administration and you have a completely different treatment toward immigrants, totally different treatment toward sanctuary cities. And really, this is, in my opinion, the breakdown of our system of checks and balances. We have a totally broken Congress that has no interest in actually accomplishing a damn thing. They're so obsessed with their own partisanship and unwillingness to negotiate that you can't get any immigration reform. So the lack of uniformity from one administration to another is a problem. It's a huge problem. And we need to have a better system in place so it's not up to the states to decide what they're gonna do about a federal government issue. We'll see how these lawsuits play out, but I have no doubt that aside from adjudicating what states can and can't do in the courts, this is all about really scaring some of the other states, other cities that have pursued sanctuary laws. And I wanna say one other thing. Look, I do not agree with sanctuary cities and states harboring violent criminals who have been convicted of violent crimes. If they receive a detainer from ICE, they should follow through on those detainers as it pertains to violent criminals. However, there's the other side of sanctuary laws that I think needs to be addressed, and it's the good side of sanctuary laws. Sanctuary laws protect undocumented immigrants who have been victimized by crime, by criminals, who might have been victimized by other undocumented individuals who are committing violent crimes. They need to feel comfortable going to the authorities to report these crimes without, any fear of punishment or deportation. And if you don't have those protections and they don't feel comfortable going to the authorities to report these criminals or these crimes, well, then those individuals who are committing those crimes will be free to commit more crimes. They will be free to victimize more people, and there will be no justice for the undocumented individual who didn't feel comfortable going to the authorities because he or she didn't have the protection that is provided by current sanctuary laws. So that's something else to keep in mind. I think it's really difficult to address these issues because everyone wants to think about it as good or bad, black or white. But these are complex issues. And I do fear that the way the Trump administration is approaching this issue has some downsides that they haven't really considered.
Hey, thanks for watching that video. We really appreciate it, guys. And we appreciate it if you become members because that allows us to be independent, honest, progressive, all the things that you don't get from corporate media. And all of that is because of you guys. Hit the join button below and become one of us. Become a Young Turk.